The only way we can hope to know sooner in the future around these situations is if we listen to victims, okay, that believe all women, give them space to come forward with their stories, speak their truths, and then handle them accordingly. That's the only way we make this situation better, is by actually listening to people when they say something inappropriate happened, and actually take it seriously, even if you just want to write it off as this is a nobody, that's a celebrity, probably just character assassination. Sure, you can say probably all day long, I guess, if you really want, but listen to the account. It's that simple. Like, if we really want this stuff to stop, we have to start participating in the stopping of it. I wanted to actually take a look at the Andrew Callaghan situation, the, lead journalist at Channel 5, creator of All Gas No Breaks. Obviously someone I really looked up to and enjoyed content from, both on the All Gas No Breaks days and the Channel 5 days. I was super excited for the This Place Rules documentary. And now it appears several women have come forward, detailing their experiences with interactions with Andrew Callaghan in horrible ways. So obviously, while we're covering this topic, there's a trigger warning for assault, harassment, even things like rape. So I just want to put that out there real quick. But it appears several women have come forward, and they, it's incredibly consistent, the situations and languages we're seeing. But it appears there are situations where he's coercing women into engaging in sexual activities with him, or even just allowing him to stay with them. And coercion obviously is not consent. If someone tells you no several times, the answer is no. Several no's and an eventual yes is not a yes. That is not someone eventually saying yes and you just focus on the yes. That is someone definitely being worn down, and that is by definition not consent. Someone saying yes to get something to stop, even something as minor as someone constantly pestering them, especially in their home, in no way is that consent. And I say that and I focus on that only because of the show I've seen on Twitter around this situation, where I see a lot of people, questioning what the issue is, or stating this woman, or one of these women invited him into their home, invited them into her bed, and eventually said yes to activities. So, what's the problem here? The whole thing is the problem, especially because that woman said how in her initial communications with Andrew when he was attempting to stay at her place, which we'll go over here soon, she specifically said she was not interested in anything happening. So that right there tells us and communicates clearly where she was at, the desire she had for the night, and her comfortability level, So it's obvious why that's not consent in my eyes. I wish it was as obvious to everyone else. Andrew Callaghan, best known as the host of Channel 5 on YouTube, is being faced with multiple accusations of sexual assault. The accusations come shortly after December 30th release of his documentary, This Place Rules. Billed as a digital journalist experience, Callaghan rose to prominence for his raw and unfiltered coverage of everything conventions. Yeah, okay, here it is. 2 women have come forward on TikTok to open up about their experiences with Callaghan, and at this point, several more. And it appears that a lot of these women were not only coming forward, but a lot of them were already talking amongst themselves. They were already kind of trying to comfort each other and validate each other and be there for each other, because that's how prominent of an issue this was, which is really one of the most damning things. The fact that these victims were already in contact with each other, knowing each other, that... I don't know. I really just don't understand the people who are saying this is character assassination and false accusations. Like, accusations are almost never false. Just starting there. They're almost never false. The first video came from Caroline Elise, who goes by the username Cornbread Asserol. That's funny. That's pretty funny. On the video sharing platform, she said that the message Callaghan and they had a conversation. He eventually asked if he could stay with her after having a falling out with one of his crew members. No one obviously can speak to whether or not that's true or whether or not that was part of the coercion. Hard for me to say, you know. There was a point in time where obviously I would have given this person the benefit of the doubt and been pretty charitable and been like, you know, maybe he actually did have a falling out with his crew. At this point, I'm not sure because of the behaviors I've seen outlined and the things I've seen come forward. I no longer know. I can't say either way. Despite telling him that she was not interested in having sex with him. Okay, right there. She was not interested specifically in having sex with him. Elise said that Callaghan eventually got my consent because he wore me down. That's not consent. Obviously, that phrasing is confusing, but like, I think what she means is like verbal confirmation, because I would not call that consent. It's not, by definition. But, I mean, obviously, a person's going to feel the way they feel about it. Elise said that two visited a bar, were both drunk upon returning home. So already not a place for consent. If two strangers are drunk, there's no way to like actually give consent in order to like engage in any sort of sexual activity anyway. So really it should have been off the table in the first place because it's two people who don't know each other extremely drunk. There's no possible way. And by the way, even if you do know someone really well and you're both drunk, it's not a bad idea to hold off. Like, it's never a bad idea to just check, guys. Like, just make sure everyone is happy to be where they are and is happy to be engaging in the activities they're engaging in. And if not, you know, see what steps you can take to change that, you know, like, oh, maybe we should just go watch a movie, you know, like I don't know, like the desire, if you're hanging out with someone you like, someone you really value, in my mind, it doesn't make any sense to not have your priority not be to like make this person happy and like have a good time with them, not around them, not because of them, but with them, you know, both of you having a good time together. That's like logistically what makes the most sense to me. Kind of got off topic there. Elise said that the two visited a bar and were both drunk upon returning home. She further went on to say, I said whatever because I was trying to get the whole thing over with. That's terrible. That's terrible. And by definition, I would not, and absolutely right. It doesn't discount that I told him no. Absolutely not. It doesn't at all. And this phrasing right here, I said whatever because I wanted to get the whole thing over with. Whatever is not yes. And God, I can't even imagine if someone told me whatever, I'd be like, okay, never mind. I get it. I don't get it, but like, clearly you're not interested. I am no longer interested. That is not okay. I don't like that. That would make me feel not okay. Oh my God. God, that's fucking horrifying. And what sucks too, what's so messed up about this is like, we're literally seeing like people all over, you know, Twitter and some of Andrew's fans, they're saying, you know, like, I can't believe this, I won't believe this, I don't believe this, whatever. And you know why that bothers me so much is because, yeah, I have trouble with it too. You know who else probably felt safe around him and had trouble believing this was the real person he is? His victims. That's why this was able to happen as often as it appears it happened, you know? Like, is shocked as everyone who is just watching this from the sidelines is. The people who are the most shocked and the most shattered and the most hurt from this are the people who saw this firsthand because they were victims to the behavior. That's by far the part that like, one of the parts that like floors me. Like, I don't understand how people are walking into that same problem without understanding how countless women walked into that same problem. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. He still found a way to coerce me into doing things I didn't want to. Damn. Elise eventually felt that the need to come forward, seeing this platform beginning to grow, especially after the release of This Place Rules. That's another thing that makes sense to me. A lot of people, you know, obviously want to say it's the whole character assassination. Oh, it's because he's getting big. But from what I understand, some of these women had tried to address these things with him privately. Some of them may have even gone to law enforcement. Not 100% sure. But regardless, they might have hit a point of, okay, this was just an awful traumatic thing. I'd rather just move on and try and forget this whole thing. You know, a pretty normal response, I'd say. And then all of a sudden, when his documentary airs, he's all over their phones. And I could see that being re-triggering, you know, infuriating, you know, I could see how it would invoke disgust within them. I could see how that would create a war of emotions that would force a person to do something if they, you know, at one point in time especially felt like they wanted to try and do something about this. 100% that makes sense to me. So I don't understand the argument of it was calculated. I think it was a response, a pretty human response. Lees eventually felt the need to come forward after seeing, it's even more hard. Yes, exactly. It's even more hard to have to relive the trauma that I endured every single day by seeing this man as a social justice warrior. And not only that, seeing him still maintain the persona, the very persona that made her and others like her feel safe and feel, you know, like this was less of a problematic interaction at first. That's like the whole reason why I could also see women coming forward and being like, this has to be talked about. We have to stop this person. This is not okay. And they still have access to people, and they still have their authority and in power in that power structure of being like a beloved media figure. And it's important to strip a predator of something like that so they can't, you know, use it to prey on people. As someone who cares about human rights, get a platform. Exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's why a lot of us are so disgusted, and some people are having a hard time believing it, is because like the person who's championing human rights treats humans horribly. Like, why? He's even seems somewhat of a feminist at times, but clearly we had misconceptions. She said Elise previously attempted to come forward about her experience, but Callaghan allegedly texted her not to, saying it would ruin his life. And that kills me and hurts me a lot, because anytime I've heard that, anytime I've heard how when people try to talk to him about situations and how things went and why it wasn't okay, he would, you know, start freaking out and get very emotional and go with this ruin my life narrative. It's going to ruin my life. But that sentence alone carries such a disregard for the life of the person that you just obviously f***ed. Like, what? You don't think you might have ruined their life? You don't think you didn't just shatter their image of you and even more men? You don't think you didn't just, like, you know, like, this is what people mean when they say all men, you know? Because if it's not just someone if it's not someone who seemed safe, shockingly turning out to be a monster like this, then it's their waves of undying fans on the internet refusing to let any women come forward, refusing to let them even speak their story, not inherently believe them. Believe all women doesn't mean, you know, just believe anything they say. It just means giving women and people the space to come forward, share their stories, and like just handle that appropriately. Not even necessarily publicly. If it has to be, it has to be. But like just letting people report things and have those reports be taken seriously and actually investigated, and taking steps to try and make sure this behavior isn't swept under the rug or like, you know, socially written off as not a big deal the way it is so often. That's really all it is. And so like, it's disgusting to me to hear someone like him saying like, oh, you're gonna ruin my life, when I feel like it's so obvious. You obviously shattered a person's sense of safety, sense of, you know, like what's the type of person I can trust. You've just f***ed up so much. Like, to just still be so focused on you. I mean, it's not that shocking, because, you know, obviously predators and monsters are terrible people. That's like what they are. And it's not to say that they will forever be that way. I do believe everyone is capable of redemption and rehabilitation. You know, like I actually believe our prison system can work. I don't think it works fast. I don't think it works as well as it could. And I don't think it's easy to come back from something like this at all. At all. Nor should it be. It should never be easy to come back from something like this. It should always be something that we remain incredibly critical of a person for, in my opinion. It's losing a benefit of a doubt and a trust that we all implicitly have, technically, that we won't be absolute monsters to people. And the second you show you can be an absolute monster to someone for your own benefit, for your own gain, for your own whatever, I think it makes sense for a lot of the world to look at you like you're willing to do that, or might be willing to do that at any moment. I mean, that's just kind of what happens, you know? Elise began to receive comments on her original TikTok, which briefly went private due to harassment, which several other victims came forward to corroborate her experience with their own. One of those commenters was Dana, who goes by the handle Moldy Freckle. I really like these usernames. I know that's so beside the point, but in a series of videos detailing her own experience, Dana said that she hooked up with Callaghan once, but was put off by him being mean and demanding. Nonetheless, he asked to hang out again and pestered her when she said no. He eventually invited her to dinner to personally apologize for his behavior. She arrived to the dinner and noticed he's not really talking. When she asked if he wanted to say anything, he asked if they could have sex in her car afterward. He apologized for making her feel uncomfortable and went back to asking if they could have sex in her car. See, this is terrible. This is disgusting. This is absolutely gross behavior. Like, that's monstrous. I'm inviting you to apologize, and then, oh, it's not actually an apology. It's just another opportunity for me to pester you. Like, that's disgusting. Dana then recalls to offering to drive him home. Oh, I believe this was his ex-girlfriend, was it not? Callaghan allegedly began groping her and kissing her without her consent. I told him to stop. I told him to get off me multiple times. This is... Oh my God. That's disgusting. He tried to put my hand down his pants, and I was fighting him during this, telling him to please stop. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. Dana alleges that he eventually exited her car after she asked, but not before asking if she could perform oral sex on him. Okay, yeah, so this, I believe, is an a old partner of Andrew Callaghan's coming forward. If not an old partner, just someone who had a run-in with him.
I don't want this to be dragged out for too long because I want people to pay attention to what I'm saying. So, I'm just gonna, in brief, say that I had hooked up with Andrew previously. He creeped me out, made me feel weird, was mean, demanding. He hit me up again after this time to hang out with me again, and I said, no, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. I don't want to sleep with you ever again. Asked me why. I told him why. He invited me to go out to dinner so he could apologize. So I went to this.
That's what's so gross to me. This idea of like, oh my God, I actually feel bad for like making you feel bad. Please let me make it right to you. And then someone being like, oh my gosh, maybe it was a misunderstanding. This is actually great. And then just using that to be a predator again, like, it's so evil. Like, that's... And I feel like it displays a level of self-awareness in this situation, too. I feel like it displays, like, a specific intent to mislead people, a specific intent to, like, you know, prey on them. And that is incredibly alarming.
This dinner, because honestly, I don't care about an apology because I wouldn't believe it anyways. But I was like, free food, whatever, you know? Turns out he invites me to a really shitty diner. Like, I've never been to a diner this shitty. This is besides the point, but I'm just saying, like, what the fuck? It's not that hard to fuck up breakfast food. Anyways, so I go to the dinner. He's not really talking to me. And then I'm like, so did you have something you wanted to say? And he's like, oh yeah, do you want to have sex in your car after this? And I was like, no, I don't. Is there anything else you want to say? And he was like, oh, yeah, sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable. Are you joking? You really don't want to have sex in your car after
Oh
this?
my God.
And he asked that like probably 5 more times. Like, you're joking, right? Like, you want to have sex in your car after this, right? And I was like, no.
Oh my God.
So I told him I would take him home because he lived close by, but that I did not want to have sex in the car at all. I did not want to have sex with him again, ever. And after we got to my car, he started advancing towards me, started touching my inner thigh, and pulled me forward and started kissing my neck. So I really couldn't move out of the position. He was holding me like tightly.
God.
And he proceeded to put his hand down my pants. I told him to stop. I told him to get off of me multiple times.
Sometimes it's really hard for me to, I think it's important. I think it's really, really important to watch this stuff and to hear women out, especially when it comes to people like this, people I've looked up to, people whose content I've reviewed and shared. I think it's really important to hear these things and to understand these things thoroughly. I also happen to have a past of abuse, so it can be very hard for me to like watch and react to this stuff. It can just bring up a lot of emotions, and if I'm not careful, it can even bring up some flashbacks. And I only bring this up because like the amount of like pain and discomfort it puts me in to just even hear stuff like this is like pretty awful. I don't like it's I can't even begin to explain I like just I honestly I've described it a lot in my life as like a war. Like just the explosion of emotions that you end up having when you have something like this, like just the chaos that it can create, and the instability. I don't know, and so it's just incredibly painful to listen to stuff like this. And all I've been able to think about since I've heard this news is just like how many different places I've watched his videos in, you know, how I've seen videos of him anywhere from Florida to Washington, you know, driving all around the country, probably meeting a lot of people. And that idea just, it makes me so angry and hurt to think that like it's common enough that it's a problem for people. It's so common that like people don't even do anything about the problem. There's so many reasons. I don't know. I just needed like a minute to like kind of let some steam out.
Times he tried to put my hand down his pants, and I was, you know, fighting against him during this, told him to please stop. And he said, you could at least suck my dick.
Oh my god.
And I said, no,
oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Get out of my car. At that point, it was, I'm not taking you home anymore. Get the out of my car. And
it's like, oh. Good for her, obviously, for being able to kick her out of her car. But how many people wouldn't be strong enough to do that? How many people would feel too intimidated to do that, you know? That's all I can think about. It's just like, and it didn't even go like, this is by no means best case scenario here. Just because she was able to kick him out, she was still harassed. She was still led to a dinner under false pretenses of genuine remorse, and then that turned out to just be another opportunity for coercion in and of itself, more harassment.
He just got mad, really. He was mad that I would even say that, but at the same time he was laughing at me and continued to try to kiss me and was like, are you serious? Come on. Yeah, it was not fun. So I told him to get out of my car again. He wouldn't get out, and he said, you could at least take me home. So I realized at this point I would not be able to physically push him out of my car.
I feel like this phrasing is like, you could at least. It's like the phrasing that they owe him something, or they at the very least owe him blank. And that alone is already, I feel like, so predatory. They don't owe you shit. These are strangers. You're lucky they even like responded to your text or like hung out with you at all anyway, just because they don't know you. Like, are you kidding me? Oh my god. This is... I'm just really glad we're learning about it now. I really wish we would have learned about it earlier. That's just all I can think. Just really wish wouldn't have been ascended, like we wouldn't have ascended him to the platform that we kind of ascended him to. Wish we knew. But the only way we can hope to know sooner in the future around these situations is if we listen to victims, okay, you know, that believe all women, you know, like give them space to come forward with their stories, speak their truths, and then handle them accordingly. That's the only way we make this situation better, is by actually listening to people when they say something inappropriate happened, and actually take it seriously, even if you just want to write it off as this is a nobody, that's a celebrity, probably just character assassination. Sure, you can say probably all day long, I guess, if you really want, but listen to the account. It's that simple. Like, if we really want this stuff to stop, we have to start participating in the stopping of it. Like,
so I started driving quickly and erratically down the road. I pulled into a busier street and I stopped abruptly, thinking, you know, like maybe someone will realize something is wrong, or if someone is honking at me, like he'll feel uncomfortable and want to leave the car. But I guess it did make him uncomfortable that I did that, and I told him to get the out of my car. And he was like, can I at least get a kiss goodbye? And I said, no, get the out.
What the
He left. Never spoke to him or saw him again.
Both Elise and Dana subsequently posted proof that they interacted with Callaghan and showed messages confirming that they made plans to hang out. We definitely know Elise had plenty of pictures of her hanging out with Andrew Callaghan, especially in a bathroom where they posted a picture of them hanging out in a bathroom because a bar's bathroom in their area had an Instagram page. It was like a famous place to like take your photo. Elise also shared a selfie that the two visited the bar. Okay, yeah, so that was literally what I was just talking about. Since then, members of the subreddit Channel 5 have compiled other allegations that have been circulating since 2020 about Andrew Callaghan. One screenshot alleges that Andrew Callaghan attempted to pursue a drunk woman. There's a lot of... Okay. Some of the consistencies in these reports are the coercion, the asking over and over and over again. And some of these are coming from people who have never spoken to each other and within a time frame that it's too consistent. There's no way. And there's another thing that has been consistent, and that is the getting women drunk and targeting very drunk women. Sometimes there are even stories of people who were really uncomfortable and super drunk and with him in an area, and then their friends came and checked on them, and that's the only reason something probably didn't happen to them that night. So those two alone, that's predatory behavior. Like the coercion and the specifically going after extremely drunk women, like that's disgusting behavior. That is Predator 101. I really don't understand why there are still people like saying there's no way, there's no way, there's no way. Like everything's lining up here. While another alleges that he a high school girl in Seattle and flirted with other underage girls. I have not heard about this. One of Dana's friends also came forward on behalf of their girlfriend and alleges that Callaghan repeatedly tried to grab, kiss, and isolate her when they were 17 and Callaghan was 22. When she said that she had a boyfriend, he attempted to propose a threesome with her and his alleged long-distance girlfriend. Okay. Since beginning Channel 5, Callaghan has amassed 2.26 million subscribers and over 105 million views on his YouTube channel. He also runs a Patreon with over 1,000 members who pledge $5 to $10 a month for uncensored and longer versions of his videos on his public channel. Callaghan has not responded to Paper's request for comment. There was a slight update today at the top of this article. I wanted to go over that after covering the initial things. So it appears as of today, Callaghan has responded to assault and harassment allegations. In a statement made to TMZ, the media personality alleges that one of the victims, Caroline Elise, asked for money, with a close source telling the outlet that she requested money just minutes before the place ruled air on HBO. Callaghan's legal representative told TMZ Andrew is devastated that he's being accused of any type of physical or mental coercion against anyone. Conversations about pressure and consent are extremely important, and Andrew wants to have these conversations so he can continue to learn and grow. While every dynamic is open to interpretation and proper communication is critical for all those involved, repeated requests for money should not be part of these conversations. On January 11th, yesterday, Ethan Klein claimed to have had contact with Callaghan after the allegations began circulating. Klein claimed that Callaghan has admitted to Elise and Dana's recollections of their encounters with him. He has checked himself into a psychiatric ward due to experiencing panic attacks in the light of allegations and was reportedly working on a statement. So that's what we know right now. We know an incredible amount of people, an incredible amount of women have come forward. We know there's a level of consistency and I don't know, just the claims all line up. They really do. I don't really know how else to put that. Like there's so much consistency in behavior in the way that people remember him talking, and you know, like the fact that there's now pictures also corroborating that he was with these people at these times, at least some of them. Like it's just the chances of most, if not all of these claims being 100% versus the majority or any of them really being not. I just don't see it. I don't see a world where nothing happened. My main concern and biggest concern is obviously that like justice is served. Charges should be brought if anything, you know, can be legally proven. you know, 100%. Obviously, I would say that like also he needs to be stripped of his like positions of power or his positions of influence, because they go to making a predator have an easier time, you know, preying on people. But it seems like that's slowly happening. I know I stopped giving to his Patreon because personally I don't want to fund that kind of behavior. And now I feel like there's a really good chance that it would be funding that behavior. Yeah, no, just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Probably, I feel like it's one of the biggest betrayals of trust I've experienced in a long time. And I know if I feel that way, I can't even imagine how the victims felt. How betrayed, how violated, how disrespected and objectified. Like, I can't even fucking imagine. So as angry and as upset and as heartbroken as I am, all I can think is like, it's 1,000-fold for any victim. And the idea of someone I actually liked and looked up to going around causing that war, that internal explosion and chaos of emotions on people, that's where I think like the whole ruining life thing comes from. And obviously I probably only feel that way because of the way I dealt with things and the way I handled things and the way it affected me personally. But like, the idea of a person just traveling around doing that to people, creating that sort of mental space within people and situation, is infuriating to me. It took years for me and so much work and medication and therapy to like get to the point I am now, where I am by no means fine. Like, I still suffer from CPTSD, not just from those situations, but from other things in my childhood too. It's taken so much work, and it takes so much work every day for me to like try and handle things appropriately and just, you know, exist. And the idea of someone I looked up to walking around just ruining people's lives like that, it makes me so angry and sad at the same time. Like, I really, like, it's so weird. It's so weird because I'm so sad that like I actually want to cry, but I'm also so angry that it's just happening. And that like I always come back to this thing of, why is this so common? Why is it so common? Why is there this quiet problem in society where like fucking dad can be trusted, no fucking uncle can be trusted, no famous person, no anyone who gets any sort of influence or power? Why do they all do it? Why? And why does no one talk about it? And why do we pretend it's not as common of a problem as it is? It's so absolutely infuriating. It's like one of the world's biggest, worst, disgusting, awful problems that also goes on to create a whole slew of other generational issues by the trauma it inflicts and distributes. But no one wants to do anything about it or acknowledge its existence. And that's infuriating. It's infuriating because I feel like it's a fixable problem, because if we actually do fix it, a lot of things will get better. And especially now, you know, in the Me Too era movement, we're trying. There are a lot of people who are trying so hard to like hold people accountable and like clean up society, honestly. Make it to where like the patriarchal misogyny doesn't run so deep that this stuff can happen, and that it's not just like, oh, it's just a character assassination, or oh, they're just lying, or oh, it wasn't that big of a deal, or whatever, you know? Like, it's just really important that I think every single person listens to people when they come out with allegations. Listen to them. Just kind of waiting for a full response from Andrew at this point, really. I'm obviously going to keep covering this as like it unfolds and as things happen. Yeah. I don't know. I honest to God just hope that there is some sort of justice that comes out of this situation for the victims, if nothing else. Thanks for watching, guys. Follow me on Twitch to join us live, like and subscribe, and I will catch you later.